Welcome back, everyone, to the Blizzard Arena for Week 3 of Stage 2. And here's the thing. For those of you guys expecting Chris Puckett, my man's chilling at home. The workhorse of the Overwatch League needs a break. He's just going to go ahead, eat some steak, do some push-ups. But Chris, make sure you hit leg day, Poppy. But my name is Golden Boy. And for those of you who might be expecting Malik, well, we actually have a new face joining us here today, guys. I want everyone to give a nice, warm welcome to the one and only Aaron Stevie.
Hey, I'm definitely not Malik, because he's down under, cooking shrimp on the barbie. I'm like really bad with accents, so you have to get used to that and me this week. Woo, it's awesome to be here, guys. It's really great. So we have some awesome shows here. Today we have Seoul versus Shanghai, and we've got, woo, yes, we have the Fuel versus Dallas, and we also have the Battle of LA Round 2. You guys excited for that? Yes, all right. Well, let's play some Overwatch. Let's kick it off with Week 3, Stage
2. I could not think of a better way to start Week 2 here in Stage 2 than a match between Dallas Fuel and Seoul Dynasty. There's a stick on XQC, gets him! I don't think that Dallas was expecting Seoul to be this aggressive. And Seoul Dynasty will barely pull it out.
This is the matchup we've been so pumped for.
The Outlaws start strong. 2 maps already in the bag for them.
I said, this could be the best match of all of Stage 2. Not so much so far. It's been a one-sided affair.
Philadelphia Fusion, they're gonna make this a series. The Philadelphia Fusion reverse sweep the Houston Outlaws.
This is one we're all fired up about. The Gladiators taking on the Seoul Dynasty.
Both supports taken out by Munchkin.
This guy, he's crazy.
What? I really thought there was going to be a fight there. Dynasty coming out with the 3-1 victory.
Biggest surprise of Stage 2. Philly off to a red-hot stellar start.
Carpe flashed in midair. Why are you diving on a McCree? It's never gonna pay off. That's the series, 4-0.
We got Outlaws versus New York.
Libero on fire, taking down Coolman. New York does it and complete the sweep.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here for another great week of Overwatch. I'm Golden Boy, and Week 2 was pretty darn hype, you know? So kind of exciting stuff. But I'm joined by my partners in crime. We got Brand, we have Sideshow, we have the wonderful Zoe. How are you guys feeling today? So nice to see you.
Yeah, Week 2 was incredible.
Yeah.
Week 3, it's going to get even better, Golden Boy. We're just stepping it up. Just partly because you're here, you know.
Of course.
Right.
Wow.
That's right.
Wow,
Me.
what a leader.
You've got to get on the good side of that.
No, you've
Yes.
nailed it. I'm actually really impressed.
You should always look to get on my good side, or else I will ruin
Which one
your
is
day.
your good side, Golden?
I don't know. Every side is my good side. You know, just hit him with the right, hit him with the left. You already know. Just keep it nice and swaggy. In any case, though, I just say things in words. All right, well, let's just go into the overall standings here and where we're currently sitting at for Overwatch League. NYXL sitting lovely at the top. Brand looking good at 12-2.
Yeah, they are. I mean, New York Excel, no surprises there. You got Seoul shortly behind them and London. I mean, this is the big trio, right? And this is what I like to nickname them. These guys are the big boys that you want to take down when you're looking to play in the Overwatch League.
The big boys.
The big boys
I like that
themselves.
you just emphasize that. Then here are the Stage 2 standings. Seoul Dynasty, though.
There's the big boys again, as Brandon would say. But Seoul Dynasty are the only undefeated team so far. They haven't really faced any juggernauts yet, so we'll see if they end up crumbling today.
Yeah, and then our schedule of events for today. We're going to start things off with Seoul Dynasty versus the Shanghai Dragons. Then we're going to have the San Francisco Shock going up against the Dallas Fuel. And then finally, the Battle of Los Angeles. It's going to be the LA Valiant, versus the LA Gladiators. It's going to be a good matchup, and I'm really looking forward to that one. But it's time to get into our first game of the day, folks. And let's go ahead and welcome to the stage your first squad. It's the Seoul Dynasty. Now, this team is currently sitting 4-0. They are probably the best team in the stage right now, but a lot of people said this was like the best team coming into the Overwatch League. No surprise here.
That's true. true. They did underperform a little bit in stage 1 compared to what people were expecting, and I think there are still question marks about whether this is the current best team. As I said, they haven't really faced any giants yet. Later on in the week, they're coming up against Philadelphia Fusion, who've looked really good. So there's still question marks, but at the moment, Seoul look a lot better in stage 2.
They really do, and you can tell that they are comfortable right now. If you're following their social media, you saw that they probably eased up their schedule a little bit in stage 1. We didn't really see them doing any side content. Right now, you can get better with Fleta. They have educational streams where pros such as Ryu, Jehong, and Fleta teach you some tricks on their signature heroes. So it's pretty entertaining what they're pushing out there at the moment.
Yeah, they've got great DPS players, like you said, Zoe, but the people I want to point out is mainly the tanks on Seoul, right? Because across the board, they've got fantastic talent. Now, today, they're going to be fielding Cookie and Zephyr as well. This is kind of like, I mean, so to speak, the B team, I guess. They only really get fielded against some other teams, and now they don't really want to reveal too many strategies, I imagine, with Miro or Zumba. So instead, we're seeing this squad being rolled out, but again, nothing to be scoffed at because they always bring the pain.
Yeah, bring the pain. And also, I mean, a heck of a B team, and you really think about it, right?
I mean, not really a B team at all.
Really
it's more like there's the S team and then there's the S- team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, letters
Great
and stuff.
ranking.
All right, well, you know what? Their opponents, they're going to look to try and take them down. Welcome to the stage, everyone, the Shanghai Dragons. Now, there are some changes coming to this team.
Indeed, Goldboy. Effective immediately, their coach has actually been stepping down. Their head coach, U4, is not with them anymore, and their assistant coach, Kong, will stand in until they have found a replacement. But even more important is that Dia is not in the lineup today. He left for China on Monday due to a family emergency. He's actually expected to miss the next 2 weeks of matches for those Dragons. And that means they now have to find a replacement for him. They determined via scrims over the past 2 days who that replacement might be.
Yeah, and I mean, today they're going to be running a composition that it's kind of similar to what they've ran before, but not quite, because obviously Dia is out of the mix, and instead they're running, they've got Zushu in his stead. And I mean, it's a bit of a question mark race for me. I imagine because we're going into Volskaya as the first map, they're probably going to be sticking with Sombra compositions, sticking what they know, a little bit more comfortable, maybe running just Sombra as an additional DPS.
Shushu also plays a very good Pharah as well, so we might see that coming down later in the match. And I'm hyped because even though Dia is out for the next 2 weeks, their Korean players of Ado, Gaguri, and Fearless said that they should be arriving within the next couple of weeks, so maybe they're there to fill in. Ado is a phenomenal DPS player, so they won't be missing any firepower if he comes in to replace Dia.
Yeah, and they are going to need to make some kind of adjustments. Obviously, this team, you know, in Struggle City, population Shanghai Dragons. So they certainly
Florida Mayhem are there as well.
Yeah,
just keeping them company.
Yeah, but the struggle is like real though, you know, and they need to make those adjustments. Let's see if those new players come in and actually change things. That is the greatest sign, by the way, right there. That is a good-looking guy. I don't know. That's just a good-looking sign. I'm just saying. God bless him for having to actually go to a FedEx or a UPS or whatever and print that out.
Commitment.
Because the person probably looked at him and was like, dude, right, it's just too good. It's too good. You picked a good face there, man. Picked a good face. Speaking of good faces, I don't know what that segue will lead to. We like to think of all the teams as cold-blooded rivals, right? Mm-hmm. We like to think that they all just hate each other and they just want to win. They want to get those W's. But Shanghai actually did something quite wonderful for the Seoul boys this week. So what was it?
They did. I mean, to be honest, what do you want to give to your rivals? Cake.
Okay.
That's the right answer, right?
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but that's my approach to it, you know, like playing it sweet. The Shanghai Dragons actually went out of their way to get some cake to Miro and Toby, as it was their birthday last week. And that's such a nice gesture of them. MG and Five King went into the dugout and sung
just sang
a happy
birthday.
It's
That's
sweet.
awesome.
I rate it. Why not? I mean, what cake are they having? Do you know? Do you have that information?
I do not, but I will follow up on
man.
this. I will follow up during halftime, all right.
One job, Zoe. Find out what the cake is. Is
I'm
it ice cream cake? Is it vanilla
it's very
cake?
creamy.
Is
I'm
it
thinking
chocolate?
it leaning to like mocha cheesecake.
Did you have any of it?
Mocha cheesecake.
I'm making things up at this time, but no one can prove that I'm wrong. So that's okay.
No one can prove that you're wrong.
You have no proof.
Oh, dear Lord. This is the world we live in, folks. Okay, well, the thing is, though, because they have made some changes, right? You know, U4 is gone, and Bren, like, what does that do? Like, what adjustments does that mean for the Shanghai Dragons?
So U4 gone. I mean, this is a big, like, what, you know, why is this guy gone in the first place? And I mean, if you're looking at the Shanghai's recent results, you can probably make a few guesses yourselves. And I mean, their tank play is mainly the thing I want to hone in on as well, because everyone's always had these question marks whenever the Shanghai Dragons tanks have been playing. You know, MG, Roshan in particular. You know, they seem to die a lot, right? Like you're kind of just watching some easy bots in the server that are just running in and feeding over and over again. But at the end of the day, a change in coaching mentality might be the thing that they need to switch it up.
Yes, and when you look at the deaths here, you can see that when we compare it over to Seoul Dynasty's Kuki, who played a couple of games over in Stage 1 a little bit earlier, his deaths are far less. Now, the interesting thing to me is damage blocked as well, because Roshan's is higher, but we saw that the tank metagame as we went through Stage 1 and into Stage 2 was more the tanks playing on their own. So the bubbles are to keep the tank alive as they make plays, rather than just to absorb damage. So there's a stylistic thing going weirdly here for Roshan, which I think plays into the fact that, is this Roshan making the decisions? Was this the coach U4 setting them up for this? Because we heard a little bit about his philosophy of just kind of throwing the tanks in and hoping that Undead would kill people.
Precisely, yeah. And I mean, again, that's going to create massive openings in your tank line. So, like, people were wondering, you know, why does this tank line have such high deaths? But it is mainly because the supports are focusing on Undead and Dia, keeping them alive in the back lines and prioritizing the survivability of them as opposed to their tanks, which every other team does.
And the assistant coach that they've brought in to replace U4 is a very highly regarded guy. His name's Kong. He used to coach a team in Korea that was top 5 in the world before the Overwatch League started. So this is a guy with real talent that's stepping up to the table here. We'll see what he can get done.
Yeah, and you can see like what the coaching does, right? When you talk about Tyrong on Houston Outlaws, right? Like
what a guy
impact that guy has. Best Twitter in the world, by the way. If you haven't followed him yet, awesome Twitter. But I'm expecting this match to be a fun one. You know, Seoul Dynasty, they're gonna obviously have the upper hand here with their B team, even though it's not really
S- team.
S- team, as Bren says. In Shanghai, they're really just looking to rebuild and develop with this one. So there is while you know every match and every win matters. At the end of the day, we're here to watch some Overwatch. We're here to have some fun. You guys ready to have some fun? Oh, I need you guys to wake up a little bit more because we are going to have ourselves a great game here. It's going to be Seoul Dynasty going up against Shanghai Dragon. Let's go ahead and send it over to my good friends. We got Monte Cristo and Doa.
Thank you, Golden Boy. Glad you're back, buddy. And here we are, guys. Week 3 in Stage 2 has begun already. Seoul Dynasty versus Shanghai Dragons. Apparently, we're giving out like Dance Dance Revolution scoring on the desk now.
I just called them
and all that.
I just called them weep grades.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm just saying like DDR, man. I played a lot of that back in the day. But that's not how I played DDR, by the way. It was much better than that, than what you just saw right there. Don't worry. But it's like Shanghai's gonna be playing it on heavy, man. They're going up against Seoul Dynasty. It's not gonna be easy for them. We're getting things started on Volskaya Industries, but as we look at the roster for Seoul, they're kind of putting in, I don't want to call them their B team because everybody is really good on this, and I don't really want to call them their S- team either because that just kind of sounds odd.
It does.
But either way.
What would you call them?
I would call them the, what
interesting euphemism can we come up with? Depth lineup?
Depth lineup? I don't know. Maybe the, Team 2? No, that's not very. See, we spent too much time in Korea where they would name their teams A and B or 1 and 2, literally.
That was a bad time.
Or fire
to be a caster.
Red and blue. Over here, where you can have 12 players, but only 1 team, which is nice. Seoul Dynasty, Shanghai Dragons, Volskaya Industries, Seoul Dynasty will be going on the attack first. They are the away team for this match, so they'll be sporting the white jersey. Shanghai, obviously, and the home team, the red and the yellow.
Yeah, previously
when hungry, I don't know why.
Shanghai on this map, they do like to run Shusha, principally because they've run some Sombra defenses with Widowmaker and Tracer, but it looks like we are going to be seeing Shusha back on an off-tank role with the Roadhog, so we'll be triple tank. Worth noting that Moira, talking to Captain Planet, our stats guy, he does, the Dragons do run more Moira than any other team in the Overwatch League. Moira currently for Shanghai Dragons used about 35% of the time, which is more than double the second team. So they've been very Moira heavy.
Right. Well, it's a solid defensive composition. See what Shusha can do on that Roadhog. Probably see him on that far lately, wouldn't be surprised, but here we go. Seoul Dynasty on the attack here on Volskaya Industries, coming in with a bit of dive wicked on that Genji. They're gonna throw Bunny on the Tracer, no shock there, but can they get in? Zephyr waiting for it, their alternate off tank. coming in with the Diva. Shanghai a little bit split right now. They're going to go back to the point, and Seoul's going to give chase.
So the purpose of that shallow dive is just to remove the Roadhog from the choke so he can't play a constant fishing game with the hook. Now you're able to spread out more with the dive. Bunny is coming around a long flank right now.
Yeah, trying to get in behind. If he can get onto the Widowmaker, that's big. Undead under fire here. Get some heals from the Mercy. He'll be fine for the moment. Bunny now looping around the side, gunning for altering on that Moira. Already has a Coalescence out. He's going to pop the Moira ultimate, and Seoul falling back a little bit here. They want to wait that one out if possible. Bunny, though, has that Pulse Bomb ready, and they're going to go in with the Transcendence, tossing in the Pulse Bomb. No kills, but enough damage done that maybe Wicked, yeah, with that Dragon Blade. He's gonna fall, but he gets the kills that Seoul needs. And Bunny with the finishing damage. That should be point A for Seoul.
And when we have hero selections like the Moira, you're not going to be able to cover as efficiently against the Dragon Blade. That's why Guido comes in with the Transcendence, covering the entire point to be cleaned up by Wicked himself.
Well, the other thing, too, is that when you play that Moira on the professional level, as soon as your opponent see you use that fade, everybody jumps on you, right? So she's got that escape mechanic, but once it's gone, everyone knows they can just kind of take you out.
All right, so no swaps here for the Dragons. They are sitting on quite a few ultimates. That was an extended poke battle to start off this map.
That's right. Zephyr a little bit of pressure onto him on the high ground. Waiting for Shanghai. Oh, Bunny comes in. One clip, one kill. Pulse Bomb comes out. I think that one might have gotten eaten. Not doing any damage either way if it did get through. Meanwhile, Wicked does take down Shusha. And Seoul already on fire here. They're going to go ahead and drop that sound barrier, trying to go into the Transcendence as well. Using those support ultimates staggered to just keep Shanghai pushed back, splitting the team up. Tank's a little bit separated from the rest of them. Bunny with another Pulse Bomb already. Are you kidding me? Yeah, go ahead and take that one. Oh, but the half damage reduction from Shusha keeps him up. Doesn't matter, though. The kills are coming in.
Yeah, eventually. Look how long it's taking, though. The healing on these tanks has been absolutely crazy. It's been hard to get through this wall of meat on the point from the Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah, Roadhog's a pretty durable hero, but Seoul able to get a little bit of control meter. There's another sound barrier from Toby here. They do get the D-Mech onto Zephyr. Weki falls, so Shanghai getting a little bit of purchase in this fight. Soul's going to have to back off. So, got it about halfway there. Gonna have to be satisfied with one tick as they continue to exit the fight here.
And that's the issue. Trying to clean up a triple tank with these divers can get pretty laborious because there's so much healing coming in from the Moira ult, from the Mercy ult, and from the Roadhog breather.
Healing from Toby. Keep Wekied up. They're gonna go in with another Transcendence. Got it back very fast via Guido. Bunny, meanwhile, building up yet another Pulse Bomb. Roshan falls first in this fight. Bunny waiting for his moment here. The support's a little bit grouped up here. He's got to be cautious. Help pack should be back soon. Maybe just going getting some healing from his supports instead. Yeah, gonna go for the D-Mech. Misses MG though, but doesn't matter. They pop him right out of that Diva suit anyway. Now Weki coming with the Dragon Blade. Has a sound barrier to contest with though from 5 King. And he's not going to be able to quite get the kills they want. So Seoul pushed back again.
Seoul is farming ultimates from the tank line, but they're not putting any pressure on the supports. You can see there with Guido, or sorry, with Wicked, with the Dragon Blade, he wanted to get into the back line, but he had to dodge out of line of sight thanks to the self-destruct, and he found himself back there with a Moira and no more dashes to close the gap. So this has been difficult. We need Seoul to have some better shot calling on the back line if they want to take this point, because Shanghai is going to be very happy with absorbing all of that damage from the tanks and getting more and more support ults as a result of the healing.
Yeah, it's a very different Seoul roster than we usually see, and it certainly is showing here. Undead throwing in the Pulse Bomb, keeping Seoul Dynasty a little bit bottled up there. Gonna be able to get some heals and come in. Wow, Roshan with a pretty aggressive dive. Primal Rage ending there. They're not going to have that for the next push from Seoul.
Oh, and it's just
be careful.
It's back to poking here from the Seoul Dynasty, altering with yet another.
Oh, Dragon Blade times. Oh, he got booped back there, and there's the damage to finish him off. Zephyr gets the kill, altering though with that Coalescence. Couldn't keep his Genji up, but he's going to try to push Seoul back. Not going to work though as the Transcendence comes in for Guido again. Now altering down and out, pushed up the map by Kuki, and Wiki free and clear to do work with this Dragon Blade. Genji v Genji, reflecting, denies some of that damage, but Shusha falls to Bunny. And and it's only, seems like a matter of time. There we go, Seoul taking 2 points. Shanghai held on for a bit, but still a solid attack time for Seoul.
I mean, really, Seoul was playing in the choke point and waiting for the Shanghai Dragons to make a mistake. You could see that Shusha not really used to playing this DPS role. That Dragon Blade, he didn't have enough cover and had to get out immediately after pulling it, using his dash to reverse back towards his team. So miscommunication on the side of Shanghai. That gave them the opening that they needed to take the rest of this point. But Seoul playing very passively so far.
Yeah. Definitely different than what we're used to with the very dive-heavy style that we've seen, especially since the meta's shifted away from Mercy a little bit.
You can play a dive composition, but if you're not actually taking out the support line, then you're not going to have a lot of luck because you will want to trade if you are the tank-heavy team. You know, the ults of the enemy DPS for more and more support ultimates on the other side. And
yeah,
we didn't see Seoul going after altering or 5King very much. In fact, there were only 5 deaths between the two of them that entire round.
If you look at Seoul's roster, though, I mean, compared to what we usually see from them, the only similar players to their normal lineup is Toby and sometimes Bunny, right?
Yeah.
So it might as well be a different team at this point for what we're seeing right now from Seoul.
Yeah, very true, but you don't want the 2 supports if you're playing dive to have the least deaths.
Probably not.
2 least deaths on the team. No, that's what you should be targeting. They're going to try and run the dive again. We'll see if they can be more successful here.
Yeah, defensive dive now as Seoul's Dynasty swaps over to that role. Shanghai on the attack. Looks like they might be running Shusha again on the Roadhog. I'm a little bit surprised that they swapped off of that at the defense on point B. I think Roadhog at Volskaya point B is one of the best hero point combinations in the game, but
I think they needed more verticality at the end there. So Shanghai going to be running very similar composition here, same composition on their attack. And I think Shanghai has a chance to pull through this map. If they play like they did last time, they'll be able to grind out these points against the dive.
Oh, they're going for it. Walking right in. Zephyr, oh, that hook could have been devastating if it would have landed. Shusha blocked, though, by that, whatever that is on top of the roof, I don't know.
A crate.
A crate, blocked by the crate. Weki falls earlier, nothing blocking that damage coming in. Oh, the hook denied, though, as Guido gets around the corner. Couple kills for Shanghai right off the bat, though. Looking okay. 5King brings Roshan back into the action, too. So this is a great start for Shanghai.
And this is the problem, though. You can't play a war of attrition against the Shanghai Dragons while they continue to get healing. Altering's already back with another Coalescence.
But that's the thing. If you're running triple tank with this Moira, you get the ult so fast.
Nice
He's gonna pop it now to keep 5King alive. That's right. Going and focusing on the tanks right now. Transcendence from Seoul as they keep trying to defend this one. Get kind of crazy with it. Altering throws out the orb of healing. And Seoul starting to turn this fight around a little bit. MG did get DMAC, which is pretty bad. Altering just running for his life right now. Another orb of healing gets eaten by Zephyr, and there's the kill. Trying to keep himself alive, and it looks like throughout all of that, though, Shanghai's going to take the point.
Yeah, at the end, though, big problem where we see MG. Looks like he used that self-destruct to recall a mech. No, he still has it. Okay. A little bit worried there, and we are going to see the point taken in the midst of that hectic fight. There was just a little bit at the end, and Shanghai still had 3 tanks on the point.
Well, everybody, Seoul just kind of moved off of the point and didn't contest it. Shanghai kind of snuck that one a little bit.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of mistakes, but they're playing the way Shanghai wants to play right now. And this is looking really good for the Dragons.
Sure enough. Dead waiting for targets. Oh, that's a good one. Zephyr hit with the pulse bomb, gonna get DMAC'd early. A little bit of trouble now, making a lot bit of trouble for Seoul. Now it's Toby's turn to flee. Gonna be a primal rage from Kuki to try to keep Seoul in this one. Dragon Blade coming in though, as Weki tries to hunt down 5King. The not Bunny Blaster is out, but 5King is. He gets cut down. There's another one on Altering. So Weki cleaning up that defensive fight, and now the stall on MG. That's a bit rough. Undead falls too, so Seoul will hold for a bit, but still 5.5 minutes for Shanghai.
Plenty of time. But now we see the change in Seoul's tactics. That was Wakid finding a better angle onto 5King on the Mercy. He will switch to the Lucio now. So once that sound barrier, you have a better chance of grinding out the point or getting the big Dragon Blade that you need to wipe the end of the map They get it, and that was Bunny getting a little surprised there on the platforms by the flank from Undead.
Yeah, a little bit lucky he didn't get one flip there. Undead getting really low himself. I don't know if there's any health pack in that side room too. He needs to be very careful. Five King a little bit on his own. No, that's Ultra. He is down. The Moira too aggressive. There goes the other support as Five King blasted into oblivion by Bunny. Gonna take Roshan on his way to the side of the map too. So that attack done before it really began for Shanghai.
And this is the difference. Now we see Seoul playing more aggressively. Now we see them targeting the supports. The supports falling first in that fight to Wakid. They've realized that they're not going to be able to heal up the big tank line. They're not going to be alive for that, so
yeah,
Shanghai, I think, is going to have more trouble now, making sure that they get those constant coalescences for altering.
And despite this being a very different roster for Seoul, this is the same thing that Seoul is known for, which is their adaptability as games go on against various opponents. And it's like these guys still have that one. Wekid with the Dragon Blade. Ooh, not the best Dragon Blade ever, it seems like. They maybe force a Primal Rage out. Hard to tell if Shanghai would have wanted to use that one anyway. Wakid's trying to chase on the support. Reflect coming in. Oh my gosh, he got Shusha all the way through that. How in the world did he live? Well, he's dead now, but that was an impressive run from Wekid. Meanwhile, Shanghai on the point right now. MG not getting D-Mech like Bunny would have hoped for.
Kuki, the only one on the point right now. Wakid and Kido are back up. Trance is coming out.
Sound barrier just a little bit too late to save Ultrank's life, and Seoul Dynasty able to respond with the Zenyatta of the Transcendence to help to swing this fight in their favor. But here comes the Dragon Blade from Shusha. Wekid down, looking for a bit more. Goodbye, Toby. Shusha trying to finish this one off, but Bunny just cannot be hunted down, it seems like.
And MG is the last Shanghai Dragon standing here on point B. So once he's done, the threat is over, not even one tick. And they use basically everything on that engagement. Zephyr coming back with a self-destruct right now. Bunny has a pulse bomb.
Evasive, deadly, like the bunny from that Monty Python film, actually.
I don't know if that one was evasive. I suppose it was.
Well,
they couldn't
it
kill
was.
it. They couldn't kill it with the holy hand grenade.
That's true.
Oh
yeah.
no, wait, they did kill it.
They did kill it with the holy hand. Yeah.
They needed a large explosion.
Needed that. That's the point. It was so evasive otherwise. Known for his evasive placement. Oh, Undead, not evading Bunny there. Russart for Shanghai in this push. Roshan down. It only gets rougher from here. And Altering taken out with a pistol to the face, and that push over. Bunny is going wild right now. We talk about this guy's individual skill, and you know, where Munchkin has been the go-to tracer for Seoul in recent weeks, Bunny is like right up there as far as like insane plays you see out of these guys.
Yeah, well, you see, we've talked to the team in the past about their play style, and Bunny is more of the independent operator tracer. You can see that. But once he gets into those back lines, knowing his limits, one clipping and pistol whipping supports after support.
Yeah.
Doing a great job of cleaning up, cutting off the healing reinforcements to the Dragons.
All right, here we go, sound barrier to help Wekid stay a bit more durable as he comes in with the blade. Gonna cut MG out of his mech, it seems like. Yeah, he did get that one. Trying to reflect to save his life. Goes high, but Shusha cuts him back down again. Meanwhile, Bunny back in the back lines one more time. Chasing Shanghai out of the fight, and now they are down to about a minute and a half remaining. Desperation mode activated for the Dragons.
And they've got the Dragon Blade, but Guido with the Transcendence. Toby still waiting on another sound barrier. Undead will swap to the Reaper now to try and snowball this point. They know they don't have much time.
Guido's Transcendences have looked better on this map than we've seen from his Zenyatta in the past. It looked a bit rough when they ran him a while last stage, and he's already looking improved since then. Go again, Transcendence coming in. Toby just bouncing Shanghai back a little bit. Waiting for that coalescence to finish off again. Roshan on the high ground, but the supports supporting each other. Big kill from Guido as Roshan falls. Toby right there to finish off Shusha as well. Toby just so good with that right click, man. Puts everybody exactly where Seoul wants them, and that's another one fight for the Dynasty, and now maybe one attack remaining for Dragons before this thing is over.
Yeah, but Toby got so much done. He went from about 25% to 100% of his sound barrier in that last engagement. So he is sitting on another sound barrier. Wakid nearly there with the Dragon Blade. So this is going to be a hell of a mountain for Shanghai to climb against all 6 ults.
Well, Toby's the best Lucio out there right now, and we're certainly seeing that today against Shanghai. Undead over to the Reaper, trying to just walk in, get some kills with the left click. Bunny come in from behind though, Zenyatta a little bit zoned out. Yeah, that's a big problem for Five King, actually. He can't join the fight. He's just going to get killed. Cut off for the rest of his team. Sound barrier for Seoul. They're just going to kind of grind it out with the support ultimates. They use the Transcendence. Now the sound barrier. Now Five King down. No more healing for Shanghai Dragons. And Bunny just waiting, man, doing the damage. Wekid finishing off MG. That's going to be about that. Seoul Dynasty will take Volskaya Industries.
It was a lot closer than I think we would have thought, Joa, but a lot of that was because Shanghai got to play their play style for the first couple of rounds of that series, and it was only later when Seoul adapted their tactics and started focusing the supports that it got a lot easier for them. But Shanghai did some work in that game, altering himself at 18,000 healing, which was about 4,000 ahead of the next highest, which was Toby. So what he was doing, he had a huge number of coalescences.
Yeah, well, when you've got those three tanks that kind of group up and get healed at once, you get a ton of AoE healing done. The coalescence, like you mentioned, gets built really fast. So yeah, that adds up to a lot of healing. But unfortunately for Shanghai, it doesn't add up to a win, at least not in map 1. But we've got 3 more maps to play, guys. It's not over yet. Don't go anywhere. Control map coming up here on the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Three, two, 1, 0. All engine running.
Overtime ticks, and Seoul Dynasty will barely pull it out.
저희가 그러니까 헤드 코치라는 그러니까 명칭만 있지 따로 헤드 코치를 두고 있는 건 아니고요. 지금 코치가 4명이 있는데 거기서 이제 저희가 4명이 각각의 이제 역할을 돌아가면서 이제
코치님은 그 어웨이슨 코치님은 저희한테 좀 강하게 해주시고 거기서 또 저희가 멘탈적 그런 것도 좀 잡아주시는 것 같고.
이제 코치님 같은 경우는 좀 섞여 있어요. 형 같을 때도 있고.
있고요. 이제 뭐 예를 들어 한 2명은 전략 분석이랑 이제 전술 담당을 하고 있고 나머지 2명은 이제 뭐 연습하면.
주로 저는 이제 선수들 개인의 퍼포먼스 향상을 위해서 이제 개인 플레이 같은 거를 많이 봐주고 있고 또 이제
보통 이제 상대 팀의 큰 컨셉이나 그런 거를 바탕으로 저희 팀이 자주 당하는 그런 공략법을 상대가 알고 있을 때 그거를 잘 인지하게끔만 선수들에게 이야기해주는 편이고.
What is going on? Seoul Dynasty may have fed their only chance to get into the playoffs.
They didn't finish as strong as we expected.
좀 약하게 된 이유는 아무래도 저희가 메르시 메타에서 조금 다른 팀보다
일단은 스테이지 2 이제 들어오면서 메르시가 너프 되었기 때문에 그 전에 사용했던 거에 대해서는 저희가 이제 워낙에 많이 해봤던 조합이기도 하고.
That's a win for Seoul Dynasty. These guys continue to roll through stage 2.
아직은 조금 더 보완할 점이 많은데 시간이 지나면 아마 지금보다 더 좋은 모습이 나올 것 같습니다.
Sends them back to the shop for spare parts and Seoul Dynasty, they win it.
다른 그러니까 게임 외적으로 사람으로서 좀 성장하는 데 있어서 도움을 좀 줄 수 있다는 점이 제일 기분이 좋고 이기면 뭐 최고죠.
어떻게 보면 대리 만족이기도 해요. 그냥 저도 같이 기분이 좋아지더라고요. 그냥 말 그대로 아버지, 어머니 그래서 하는 것 같아요.
Well, you can't argue with the impact that a coaching staff like that has on the players, and that's one thing that Korean esports teams have always really been known for is the strength of coaching staff. And since that scene is well over a decade old now, nearly like 20 years old at this point, you've got people that started out as players and now have been coaches for a long time and can kind of bring that experience with them, not necessarily in specific game knowledge, but just how to be a successful programmer. And we've seen that produce a lot of stars over there, haven't we?
Yeah, we definitely have. And I haven't spoken to them since they added Bubbly to their coaching roster. But previously, I talked to Kuki, and he was saying that they had split duties of the 3 coaches prior to Bubbly joining between the positions. So they were mostly positional coaches, having a tank coach, a support coach, a DPS coach, and sort of dividing the duties that way. So very interesting. Seoul definitely has a deep coaching lineup.
Yeah. Well, it's paid off. Here we go on to map number 2. Lijiang Tower will be our control map. Best 3 King of the Hill style. And we will be starting things out on Garden, I believe.
Yes, we will. And Garden is a map that we've seen the Dynasty. They've overwhelmingly, with their other roster, preferred to play Soldier and Tracer on most of these points. Obviously, Control Center is a little bit different. So I'm curious if we're going to go to that. Now, for the Dragons, I think we can expect to see Pharah, especially since Shusha is subbing in as the second DPS, and they usually brought him in when they were playing Pharah Sombra previously.
Yep.
So I think it will be a more comfortable pick for him. They decide to go that direction.
Sure enough. Map 1 went okay for Shanghai, despite them dropping that one to Seoul. Yeah, I think the triple tank style looked solid. We know Shusha's a good Pharah, so we'll see what he can do here on Lijiang Tower. Seoul Dynasty playing the classic dive. No Soldier 76 in sight. Gonna go for the Tracer Genji again. Weki back on that hero.
Yeah, it could be Wiki
don't get booped.
Doesn't feel confident on this Soldier to go with their typical style, or we might just see Seoul play dive all day because it's standard and they feel comfortable with it with this lineup.
Why not? Yep. A little bit different lineup than usual, so back to the basics perhaps for Seoul. Ooh, looks like Kuki really low on that Winston. They got to keep him alive. Shanghai, a lot of damage coming in onto Seoul in this room right now. Toby under fire himself, but meanwhile on the outside, Weki kills Guido, manages to pick Altering out of the air. That's the kind of improvement you want to see from a Zenyatta player. When you start seeing the Zenyatta's take down the Mercies, take down the Faras out of the air. You're like, okay, this guy's getting pretty good at the same.
Yeah, he definitely is. And there was never a question about his mechanics as we saw him play in Korea on Lunatic High in a DPS role, so maybe getting a little bit more comfortable with the projectile speed from the Zenyatta orbs now, but...
Zen's pretty different from anybody else as far as landing those projectiles.
Yeah, you really see the difference now between Seoul's play in the first map and this one. Now they're starting to target those supports. They are falling first.
Yeah, that's right. They've got the sound barrier. That's going to help them survive the damage coming in from Shusha. Kido landing 1 after he demechs MG. Meanwhile, there we go. Why not? Yep. I mean, maybe Shusha was going to reset, but you don't need to at that point. You can actually get back in there as Farah, but
yeah,
Kido says, I don't care what your plan was, man. You're gone.
He was trying to fly in stealth mode there to rejoin his team. Unfortunately,
so.
Does take a few orbs. Doesn't actually change much because Kido already had the Transcendence, so it's not like he was sending any ult charge Kido's way, but
and it was
fun to watch.
Anyway. Transcendence, ooh, Bunny looking for juicy Shusha. I don't know. Juicy target with that one. Oh, gets booped, comes back in though. There's the stick on the 5 King. In trouble now. Roshan does kill Kido though, so support down on the Soul side as well. Here comes the Dragon Blade. Takes down MG immediately. Into the air he goes after altering. What? Wekid picks the Mercy out of the air, can't get the rocket reflecto, but it doesn't matter because Bunny and Kuki are right there to finish this fight off.
And this is where you have to make an adjustment if you're Shanghai. Seoul has made the change when it comes to their target selection for those supports. But ever since that happened, we haven't seen Shanghai prioritize the protection of those supports with their tank line, and they have to start doing that. Yeah. Otherwise, Bunny is just going to keep running wild.
Zephyr tossing that in, pretty good angle for the self-destruct. Doesn't get any kills out of it though. Guido does fall, which is kind of rough for Seoul. Going after altering now, turns back around. Bunny on board with him on the Tracer now. They've got Roshan a little bit low. Zephyr demechs in the meanwhile. Can he get the stick onto Roshan? He can! There's the kill. Meanwhile, Kuki falls, so Shanghai will flip the point. They won that fight despite what Bunny was doing on the tertiary sides of it, but Shanghai will get a bit of control percent going.
Yeah, they're going to try and come in now. Bunny's still poking around, wants to build up as much pulse bomb as he can. Wekid back over next to the Pagoda while they wait for those tanks. Shusha playing a little goalkeeping here on the bridge.
Yeah, he's trying anyway. Seoul attempting to retake right now. MG getting a little bit low. Oh, they do manage to pick off Kuki though. Both Winston's out of the fight right now. Shusha's nearly got that barrage. Gonna back off for a second as Wekid was looking for a kill there. But you gotta watch out. Shusha would love to come in through that window and just blast people with the barrage. They're gonna have to give it over. And Seoul Dynasty on OT. Can they do anything about it? No, the reflect, and then Wekid there to turn him down, and now the ultimates come out. Seoul dumping everything to finish this fight off.
They're just waiting now. Roshan, primal raging in the point, but he too will fall.
Only a matter of time as overtime expires. They're gonna bring in MG, but it's one at a time for Shanghai, and it's tough to take it back. And that's gonna be Seoul Dynasty winning the first point here on Lijiang Tower.
There has to be an adjustment that's made here from Shanghai. Maybe you start running the McCree to deal with this Tracer, because Bunny is by himself most of the time that he's in that back line. So you have to start concocting a strategy that is going to punish him, because he is being way too aggressive, honestly. Like, this is not a play style that he should be getting away with.
Oh yeah, Bunny's just having a field day, man. It's a shooting gallery for him. So you need to do something like put Undead on the McCree, maybe run the Tracer on your own. I mean, a 1v1 against Bunny, I don't know if that's something I'd want to, risk, but you got to do something to stop this guy from tearing your supports apart.
And we are going to see a switch here, so it will be the same strategy from the Dragons that we've seen them run on Control Center previously, except instead of Dia on this Zarya, it will be MG.
Yeah. Well, this is a really solid strat for Control Center. That triple tank, got the shields.
I mean, Seoul just going to play dive. I mean, you can't blame them. It's not ideal for this point, but...
This is a tougher one, yeah.
If it keeps working this well, how can you argue with the results?
Well, I mean, if it wins, right? And Wekid does take down Altering early on. The DPS are just getting into Dragon's backline way too easy right now. Undead just picked out of the air by Zephyr's rockets. And it's a tempting cleanup time. Zephyr needs to get away. Does he get back to the health pack just in time? He does. Meanwhile, Bunny hunting down 5 King finishes him off. Shanghai had nearly taken the point, but I think that may be about it. Yeah, Roshan falls, and the rest of the Dragons need to head back to spawn.
Yeah, will be a late D-mech from Zephyr, so no mech at the start of this next fight, even as he tries to build up that charge by covering the angle with the Bunny Blaster.
Well, he's already at 75%, so he's gonna get that mech back really quick.
Yeah, they were peeking out a little bit around the corner there and taking some shots.
No. Oh, Bunny. Oh, this is just like paradise for a Tracer right now.
And Roshan's doing a better job of covering the back line now.
Yep, oh, Undead down. Roshan's trying, just swinging that hammer, right? But it's not enough when you're backed into the corner like that. Kuki there with the combos, man. It looks like a fighting game with the way he's getting juggled in the corner like that.
So the problem is the Reinhardt shouldn't be the one turning around to remove the Tracer and the Genji. You want the Zarya to do that, because otherwise what just happens, which is Zephyr rocket boosts into your face and unloads the micro rockets onto you. You need that Reinhardt covering the primary angle. So Roshan is trying to help his supports right now, but he's the wrong person to do it.
It's not his job, you know. Transcendence comes in. Roshan with a big Earth Shatter might be able to win a fight for Shanghai and turn this point around. Not a lot of shields, obviously, on the Seoul side to stop this Earth Shatter if he gets a good one.
And they just fall back. They saw the Coalescence come out, so, and they had already killed MG. There's no reason for them to continue that fight.
Yeah.
They just straight up retreat from the battle. So now we have a Riptire. We nearly have a Graviton. This is Shanghai's time to get the big combo.
All right, gotta watch out for that self-destruct first, though. Gets tossed in. Doesn't look like it got any kills, but they do get Roshan. Graviton Surge used without a lot of benefit. They finished off Kuki, but Shanghai actually turning this one around.
Yeah, they gotta
be able to survive, and okay, that worked.
They got a couple of kills, Noah, with the Graviton self-destruct combo. So they execute the combo. It's Undead now is going to move over to the McCree, so no more Junkrat here that they control the point. The Junkrat was already not very useful because there's not as many barriers as opposed to if you're playing against a Reinhardt, for example, that you really want to break down quickly.
Well, speaking of breaking it down, Seoul doing just that as they come in. Earth Shatter dropped. Didn't see how many people got knocked over by that, but certainly not Bunny as he's knocking over all the members of Shanghai. Meanwhile, there's his stick. I think he may have gotten the D-mech there. Hard to say. Zephyr, though, he gets D-mech, but Bunny just dives through the shield. Goodbye, both of your frontline tanks. And Seoul takes it back 90% for them already.
And they still have the Transcendence, Noah. Shanghai has nothing. Roshan switches over to the Winston. Undead to the Tracer. They have to zip to the point.
Yeah, Seoul just tried to deny Shanghai from getting there, and they do. That is a 2-0 for Seoul Dynasty here on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, they couldn't get back to the point even with those movement abilities. Too little time remaining. So Seoul will go up 2-0 here, playing basically just dive. Dive every game.
It's Bunny, right? I mean, Bunny has just been unleashed in the back lines of Shanghai, and you just take out the healers, and then it's really easy for Bunny to just roll up and finish off the tanks that are already low. What can you do? Shanghai needs to make a change. We're gonna go into halftime, guys. We'll see if they can pull it together for map number 3. We'll be back with another game right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
Malone may be the mailman, but Bunny is making a case because your boy is delivering right now. Dynasty is up 2-0 against the Shanghai Dragons, and I understand that neither of you understand that reference.
No, not at all.
I get it.
You just said words.
I said words.
Is that just like your personal post?
Karl Malone is one of the best basketball players, of all time, and he's known as the mailman.
Sure.
Okay.
Is that the one where they throw like a soccer ball into a hoop for some weird reason?
Oh, you need.
Why do they do that?
You mean a football?
This is
right. They throw a football.
They've got me already.
I'm just saying, this is LA here, man. We got the Clippers, we got the Lakers down here. I mean, come on, man, you got to get it right.
I only know
Culture
Overwatch.
yourselves.
Sorry.
Oh, dear Lord. Okay. Anyway, welcome back to the Dust, everyone. I'm Golden Boy alongside with Brendan Sideshow here, where we, you gotta just like acknowledge the elephant in the room here, right? Shanghai, they're just having a hard time here trying to figure something out.
They're suffering without Dia as well.
Yeah.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? It's a case of, what are they doing now that they don't have Dia? Well, we thought they were going to run some Sombra strats, but they surprised us.
Yeah, and the Farah, and to be fair, they did run the Farah on Lijiang, but it still didn't work out. So even though they've got some kind of idea, the execution is not quite there for the Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah, and then they ran, as Monty called it, the wall of meat. That was a strategy, running the deep of the Winston and the Hog.
They built a wall and they were looking for Seoul to pay for it.
Yes,
but Overwatch compositions, much like foreign policy, Golden Boy, it's a little more complex than that, actually.
Exactly.
You can't just throw up tanks everywhere.
Exactly. But one guy who was actually tearing it up, though, was Bunny. I mean, this guy was just all over the place. And this is game one. I mean, while Li Zhang, you had that, you had some good moments there from the Dynasty. Really, Volskaya, this was just the Bunny show.
I mean, it's what I call in the industry as a nutter, right? That's what you classify as Bunny. He's a nutter. Like, you put him on the tracer roll, he just has a fun time. He's picking up 2Ks, 3Ks, 4Ks all game long, repeatedly in both maps, just making himself an absolute nuisance to deal with.
Yeah, and they don't really have anybody to deal with this. Undead is on a role that he's not comfortable with on the Tracer. He was playing Widowmaker earlier on. They don't have a Discord because they're running Moira, so they can't put the Discord orb onto Bunny and try and slow him down, make sure that he's more easily killed. And they don't really have anybody trying to take the pressure off so that he has to go back and deal with the backline. He's just completely confident to run around and get all the kills that he needs. And Shanghai really have to shore up that hole in their defense.
Yeah, I mean, just him staying alive the way that he has been, like, Mani Doa mentioned it, it's so impressive. He's just zipping around, causing so many issues for them. And we thought that was going to be it, right? We thought that, maybe Bunny has a good showing here. Now it's going to be Wiki who like steps it up. No, Bunny kept it going. Bunny was hopping away into Lijiang Tower.
He was loving it, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he was tearing it up, man. We had actually some pretty solid moments there as well, but that was a quick game on Lijiang.
Yeah, in general, across the board, I mean, it was far too quick for my liking. I mean, we got some general highlights. Let's run this along. I want to start to see some gameplay coming up here as well alongside
Not your face.
Not my face, but I mean, as much as I do love my own face, not to say that I don't, Lijiang Tower I love more. So
That's
I'd like,
true.
But,
Yes. I think in general, yes. I also don't want to see your face.
Okay, all right.
And you live together.
Okay.
Yeah, that's possibly the reason. But I think the thing to focus on Lijiang as well is just the duo of Bunny and Wiki. And they were going so huge constantly, and the Shanghai Dragons don't really have too much of an answer for it. We saw Wicked with his Dragon Blades multiple times being able to take out Shushu on the Farah, or actually be able to take out Altering when he was trying to get some heals from the Mercy. So they are thoroughly outplaying them at the moment in terms of whatever composition Shanghai try and throw out. Seoul Dynasty have got the answer.
Yeah, just sheer skill alone on the Dynasty side, right?
Like, so it seems like the S- squad, as I like to call them.
Yeah, which apparently is a Dance Dance Revolution reference.
I didn't know that.
I'm fairly certain that's not what we were speaking about. I used to be a demon at Dance.
Bren's too young to have
again,
ever
I'm
played.
too young
It's
for any reference you're throwing at me.
18-year-old.
What is dancing?
Yeah, what is... Well, no, you throw shapes. You throw shapes on the dance floor.
Yes, I do.
That's British slang.
You're like Bunny, just throwing shapes on the dance floor,
All
man.
across
Just zipping around and destroying everyone.
Making the control center my map. That's what I do.
On the control center there, Shanghai Dragons tried to make it their map using tanky compositions again. And all this is doing at the moment is slowing down the pace and just allowing Seoul to work with ultimates instead of just trying to dive. And Monty and Doa were talking about the fact that they weren't even going for their supports most of the time. They're just kind of sitting back, farming up the ultimates, making sure that Bunny has a Pulse Bomb alive, Wicked has a Dragon Blade ready to use, and Guido has been charging his ultimates way faster than he should have been. He's getting a transition Transcendence in Volskaya this was. On the first push, he was getting them every 67 seconds.
Yeah.
So almost every minute. Normally, it takes about 90 to 100 seconds for Zenyatta's to build up Transcendences. So he's getting them like 2/3 of the time.
Utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy. But that's because he's firing into 3 tanks who are just kind of slow, and he's got no pressure on
The wall
him.
of meat.
The wall of meat.
He's
yeah.
throwing the orbs at the wall of meat.
Wall of meat.
There you go. We could have gone in a different direction with
But we
that.
didn't.
Yeah,
But
we
we
did
did.
though.
Yes, that's right. We are classy people here at the Overwatch League. We like to keep it that way. I will say, though, Toby on the Lucio has been very impressive.
You want to talk about Toby?
I just like
Toby.
that he just repositions, the Shanghai Dragons so well.
The guy is incredible.
Yeah.
He's like one of the best Lucios in the league. Doa said it earlier in the game, and it's completely true. Like, you just watch him play against some of these players. He's never really getting picked out of positions, despite the fact that Shanghai are trying to focus him down a little bit. He's always there. He's managing his cooldowns. He's got that boop right click, just to boop, pushing them away.
Now the boop. Now the weird thing about that is that Five King is actually a very competent Lucio, and they've been playing him a lot on Lucio in this game so far. And he is one of the players that they haven't brought in a replacement for when they move forward with their new roster, their new additions in the coming weeks. But Five King tends to kind of run away from people. You saw it when he was playing against Bunny. He's trying to evade him rather than trying to take him on head to head. And most of the time when we see players on Lucio taking on these Tracers, the best thing to do is try and do damage against them. And then you're like making them back off. Whereas instead he's trying to run away from Bunny, and then Bunny's just using his blinks to chase him down. And it means that Bunny has no pressure on him whatsoever the whole match.
Do you reckon you could reenact it? What just happened, you know?
Nah, not with that arm.
I would have to run around
If
the
we got
table.
you a Lucio costume, how likely is this to happen?
He went,
Do you have a Lucio?
snowboarding and broke his arm. What do you
We went
want?
hiking the other day and he almost died as well. We tried to take a shortcut and he fell down.
No
ripped
physical
his
activity.
trousers.
No physical activity.
You can't let him outside. We have
can't.
to keep him in closed, contained
You're gonna have,
areas.
like those kids where you have the backpack and the leash on. That's what I'm going to do with you.
All I know is Overwatch. From
Yeah.
now on.
All right. Well, the shenanigans are done here for the time being, but we have a great matchup coming up next. That thing never getting old. But when we come back, Kings Row will be your next map. Will Shanghai find a way to answer back, or will Seoul roll on to a 4-0? Don't go anywhere. More Overwatch League when we return.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Welcome back, guys. I'm Aaron Stevie, and we just saw Seoul Dynasty take a lead of 2-0 right before halftime. Can they pull off a full sweep, or will the Shanghai come back around and find a way? I don't know. Crazier things have happened, and I'm totally new here, so we'll find out. But for now, let's send it on over to the casters.
Thank you, Aaron. You'll get used to it. Things are pretty crazy here. We actually had a reverse sweep last week, Philly versus Houston, which was even more crazy because that was the second time they reverse swept them in the Overwatch League so far.
This would be the craziest reverse sweep.
This would be Insanityville
epic.
reverse sweep, yeah.
Maybe they found the holy hand grenade to deal with Bunny during halftime.
He's been a man-eating bunny so far, that's for sure, man. But somebody's got to do something about this guy. We were talking about this during the break. Toby was 29-0 on Lijiang Tower. He did, think about this for a second, guys. A Tracer did not die on a control map.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen that happen before.
To put that into context, Bunny had 29 eliminations and 13 final blows. And there were, 16 eliminations on the side of the entire Shanghai Dragons. So Bunny had almost as many final blows as Shanghai Dragons had eliminations as a team combined.
Nobody could do anything about this guy.
That's a big problem. That's when you need the holy hand grenade, Noah.
You really do. You really do. Well, we are going ahead to King's Row, our hybrid map here. Take the point, then move the payload. And this is one of those maps where, Tracer's strong on every map, right? If we're honest with ourselves, she really is. She's strong all the time. But King's Row is one of those maps where you can make an argument for maybe bypassing the Tracer and not using that. I don't think Seoul's going to do that because they've been playing that basic dive with this little bit of an off roster. But maybe if you're Shanghai, you're kind of hoping you see something different.
I think we're just going to see more of the dive, Noah.
I think so too, but I got to say something, right?
That's true. Unfortunately, I think we are going to be dealing with that again. Shanghai Dragons coming out of the gate on their defense with Undead now swapping to the Soldier. MG going to be potentially playing that Roadhog.
Interesting.
So it could be a triple tank with the Moira. I do like that they're going back to this because at least they were having a degree of success with a similar composition on Volskaya, and they were charging up the coalescences very quickly. It's also easier to protect your supports if you're playing low ground defense on King's Row, because you can back yourself up into that corner.
Well, I'm excited about Shusha playing the D.Va instead. They've made that change, so maybe Shusha will be a little bit better at handling Bunny. I mean, when that Tracer's back there, the D.Va needs to go back and do something about it. And that didn't really happen on Lijiang Tower. Maybe it's going to happen now as we get things started on King's Row. Seoul Dynasty on the attack, going for the dive one more time, as we almost certainly expected. Bunny already farming that ult, taking chunks out of the tanks, working his way to the back line. We've seen it before.
And they know exactly where he is. He's firing around the upper hall as he flanks, so he's just daring them to come up there, almost trying to bait them out.
Now there's a dive. They're going to go in on the tanks as Shanghai tries to jump Seoul's back line. Roshan down already, Wekin with the finishing blow there. And now that pulse on already there. Oh, they're so grouped up. Ooh, man, Shanghai lucky they didn't lose a few more people with that, but they do lose MG. Seoul already storming onto this point. They lost Guido, but shouldn't be a huge impact as there goes Shusha.
And now they just have to stagger their supports, and DPS altering has the coalescence, but
they're
it
holding
might
for
be
now.
enough with Wakid dying. The reinforcements for Shanghai are starting to come back.
Now with the loss of Guido hurting Seoul on this attack. So with the respawns coming back in, they do need to fall back. They got one tick anyway.
They have to wait for Zephyr to remech right now too. So Shanghai continuing to hold.
Well, it's a bubble bath as both Winston Shields down there. They're out of the way now, and Seoul gonna charge in. Maybe Wekin can get in there with the Dragon Blade. That's exactly what he's gonna do. Shanghai way back. Has to reflect though. They were ready for Wekin. Good retreat from the Dragons, but now MG a little bit on his own. The tank separated from the rest of the team. Sound barrier comes in from Toby. They've got a primal raging Winston in the hotel, but he's not gonna find a lot of members of Seoul to abuse with that. Now the sound barrier for Shanghai, a later one for the Dragons, and that's going to help them win this fight. Seoul has to back off. Clearly, this triple tank style is working better, and I gotta say, they're handling the dive better too.
They are doing much better, Della. You can see a beautiful split happen while Shanghai continue to control the front line with their tanks and control the point. Meanwhile, they just negated the ults from Seoul by falling so far back. So clearly, their halftime chat has been productive.
You gotta wonder about those swaps. Oh, Guido just taken down by Xushi. He's gonna pay for it though, out of the mech. Taken out, so that's a tank down for Shanghai. Can Seoul capitalize on it? There's a pulse bomb potentially for Bunny. Oh, he misses the stick though, no kills out of that one. He really needed that, and especially now that Undead takes out Kuki. Seoul in a bit of trouble here. There goes Toby as well, and Seoul back to spawn one more time. Shanghai taking them down to about a minute left in the time bank.
Yeah, getting Guido out of the way. Now Shanghai playing slightly more aggressively, trying to hunt down the Seoul supports and at least create some even trades. They're also going to have an ultimate advantage here.
Yeah.
They don't have any support ults to deal with Wakid. He could have a big opportunity for a Dragon Blade.
Transcendence says they're trying to give Weki the space he needs to do it. The tanks again separating from the DPS and supports on Shanghai. Tanks trying to use that high HP to hold the point of it. Now everybody coming back in, but that's Weki's cue to come in with the Dragon Blade. Oh, again, MG turns around with the whole hog. They get Guido during that process too. Great response from Shanghai, but it is 2 ticks for Seoul Dynasty. They have maybe one more attack, but Shanghai still holding strong.
Shanghai has really done a good job of changing up their approach after halftime, and Seoul continues to stubbornly run this dive composition that has ceased working here on King's Row.
Oh, totally. I mean, you need to swap things up, but again, with this kind of different roster than we usually see from Seoul, I don't know, maybe they can't. They haven't shown it yet. 5 King. Waiting things out, he's got that sound barrier. They gotta make sure Seoul doesn't take the point though. Now the Lucio ult comes in. Bunny sneaking around the outside. Roshan bounces off of Guido for a big kill there. Seoul pulse bomb comes in, but the damage is not enough. The Dragons are holding, and that is the overtime expiring. Looks like Seoul's gonna get full health.
I am impressed with what the Dragons did.
Yeah, me too.
On that defense. Full hold for them, and a completely different look when it comes to their communications and tactics.
Yeah, well, I think the switch between MG and Shusha, swapping up what heroes they're playing, really benefited them. Shusha seemed to do a lot better job of protecting the back line, and it's easier to do that on King's Row, sure, but just as a team, they played great too. Gave a lot of respect and space when the ults came in from Seoul, didn't lose anyone unnecessarily, really punished Guido, who was getting a bit separated from the rest of Seoul when his team was diving in, so I think Dragons actually with a really good read on this dive from Seoul.
Yeah, definitely, and now they put themselves in excellent position to start mounting a comeback by taking King's Row. And I'm curious what we're going to see. Are we just going to see more dive on the defense from Seoul? And are we going to have a different look on the attack from Shanghai?
Yeah, no kidding. I think what Shanghai is doing is working. It worked well on defense at least, but I think you do have to swap it up a little bit at least on attack. Right now they've got Undead on that Reaper, and he has had some great Reaper performances in the past. I think especially on maps like Temple of Anubis, Undead's been doing really well. Well, we will see.
Attackers incoming.
Seoul again with the dive, although Toby this time is going to be playing the Ana, interestingly enough. Not a hero you'd really associate with Toby a lot, but we have started to see it a little bit more from him, and hey, he's been doing well.
Yeah, Ana definitely on an uptick here in Stage 2, used on a lot of maps to control high ground because we do have some longer sight lines, and especially with Mercy not being as powerful she used to be.
Yeah.
Bunny on a pretty forward attack here, trying to catch them as they're coming out of the doors. Undead is sticking to the Reaper, so they're going to bull rush the point. This is just control over the point. I love it.
This is just jump in, use those bodies, use that front-loaded damage, and take this point. They don't even need to get the whole thing to win the map. Seoul already pushed back a bit. They're going to try to dive the back line now. Zephyr nearly demech, close one. MG getting a bit of healing, which he so badly needed. Zusha nearly demech though, so that could be a problem here. Zephyr gets demeched instead. Shanghai with an opportunity. Great hook on the Bunny. MG's got to feel good about that one.
It's getting more
Coming
too,
back, though. That's right. Weki'd a bit of a thorn in Shanghai's side, but not enough of one. And Kuki shoved all the way back.
It's
nearly
just Wicked on the point now, though. Shanghai are going to do it.
That's all they've got, man. I don't think Seoul can get back to contest. They may barely be able to mount some sort of last-second defense. They gotta get there. Bunny buying time with that Tracer, but Shanghai so close. Here comes a dive from Seoul again. Primal Rage for Kuki. They're gonna pop that pulse bomb as well. Shusha and MG down, so maybe Seoul has had the fight they need. Undead gets the DMAC onto Zephyr though, and Shanghai not done quite yet. Five King fighting for his life. Big healing coming in right now. They're so close to winning this map.
And a boost on the Winston, though. Undead is going to take out Toby. Buddy now down, altering.
It's all about Kuki, but there's only so much you can do. On that point, he can't do it, and Shanghai will take King's Row.
And this is one of those options that you have if you know you only need to get a couple of ticks on a point. You can run compositions against the dive where you simply are able to exploit the fact that they can't stay on the control point. That was the wrong composition for Seoul to run in a hairy situation. You need a comp that can stay on the point at all times, because every percent you give up in that situation brings your opponent that much closer to victory.
You know, and one kind of wonders, you know, a victory for Shanghai, will it be enough to bring in Seoul's A-team? We are going to find out after the break, guys. Don't go anywhere. More Overwatch League action in just a moment.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
Shanghai just won a map against the Seoul Dynasty, and I actually spent my halftime talking to the guys from Seoul, and they did said that they actually decided for this very week to split their whole roster into two to make sure they're prepared for both of their matches. However, they do need to make some adjustments, as the Shanghai did actually make the necessary adjustments heading into map number 3. So I'm interested to see. Also, on a side note, that cake we talked about earlier, it was a mocha cake from a Korean bakery. Yeah, I told you guys I'm gonna investigate, and so I did. You welcome, Golden Boy. Now we're heading back for map number 4 to our casters, Monty and Doa.
Thank you, Zoe. You know, I don't know if do we really need to know what kind of cake is it? Why can't we just let them eat cake?
Be careful, Doa. The last time somebody said that, heads did in fact roll.
Is that a bad thing? I don't know. Oh, well, who knows? Anyway, guys, it's a bit of a bad thing for Seoul as they actually drop King's Row to Shanghai. Shanghai playing great with that triple tank strat. They're going to bring in Free Feel here, subbing in for 5 King as we look forward to Route 66, but no subs on the side of Seoul Dynasty. And, you know, according to what Zoe just said, the coach is splitting things up this week, it sounds like. And I don't know, man. I mean, it looks like if things keep going the way they're going, things could get a bit spicy.
Absolutely, and I think this is probably the biggest change that I've seen in the Shanghai Dragons play in terms of in-game adaptation over their entire time in Overwatch League. It really was a massive shift. And yes, Seoul was playing overly aggressive, but the fact that they made those adjustments to punish it and were so successful in doing so, I think is a really great sign for this roster. You know, they still have more players that are going to be coming into the Overwatch League later this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know there was that coaching change. U4 stepping down, Kong taking the lead role in coaching the Shanghai Dragons. Kong, of course, the coach for Ardiant in Korea, a team that absolutely stomped the OPC, the Asia Pacific tournament, late last year. So a good coach, a successful Overwatch coach, and even though it's only been a short time, Rod, that he's been taking the reins on this team, you got to wonder if that's already having a bit of effect.
I mean,
too early to really say.
Yeah,
one wonders.
I think he's been with them for a little bit per the season right now, I believe, so far. So I'm not sure if having more of a head coaching role affects his ability to implement strategies.
Right.
But
how much influence did he?
Regardless, like I think it's really interesting that we're seeing this right now from the Shanghai Dragons, and I'm also interested that they're not playing Sombra, especially with Dia out and Shusha in.
Well, Shusha was their Sombra player in the past when we've seen it in a lot of cases. And this is one of those points where if you don't run Sombra, I think you're taking a bit of a risk because she's just so strong here on defense on Route 66.A.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think, too, Shanghai, they have a history of running the Tracer and McCree here. But today they're going back to the Widowmaker, and we are going to see MG, who did play very well on that Roadhog, as we saw, denying some really big ultimates from Wikid, using the whole hog in that last fight. And Genji now going to be back again. It's just more dive for Seoul.
Yep, seems like that's going to be their plan coming into these maps here today. Route 66, of course, a lot more room to dive around than you get on King's Row, so definitely different terrain to work with here. Keep walking forward, Bunny down, Undead finding a good shot there, but Altering taken out. That's one healer down, Roshan taken out by Wekid, and now with just that Moira, you're in a lot of trouble. If you're Shanghai, Free Feel eliminated as well. And Seoul gonna get this payload rolling pretty quick here.
Undead actually got forward on the Widowmaker towards the end of that fight and tried to enter the combat with just his machine gun. A bit interesting approach there, but maybe he wanted to reset faster so that they would have another, they'd have another time here to make a defense on the point with him available. All 6 members of Shanghai coming back in.
Yeah, that's right. They're not done yet. Trying to get this last second defense coming in. Transcendence, Dragon Blade, looking for kills. Lucky not finding any just yet. Did a good amount of damage though. Falls, but members of the Shanghai Dragons falling much quicker than the Seoul side. 5 King nearly eliminated. Not much health left. Gets the boop, but Altering down anyway. I said 5 Kings. I'm so used to him being the Lucio, but he's not this time. Either way, Seoul takes point A without too much of a struggle.
And MG built up to that whole hog at the very end. Didn't get much of an effect from it. Undead It's a Venom Mine kill onto
Yeah.
Zephyr in the mini Diva form, so
see a lot of those.
Won't be too much of a delay though, considering the card has to wait for the doors to open. Undead popping the infra sight so he can make sure he knows where everybody is. He is aware of Bunny on the flank right now. He's trying to get a shot on him currently.
Oh, that's why Bunny is sticking near that health pack too. Whoa, Shanghai just diving, going in hard. Guido with that sound barrier under pressure, but stays alive for the moment. Dodging that self-destruct. Toby couldn't get out of the way though. He's gonna go down. And Shanghai holding the point pretty effectively so far here.
Undead kept Bunny
Guido
out of that fight with the infra sight, and he knew he was positioned far forward, which enabled the Dragons to rush with their wall of meat into the choke points and use that coalescence. So nice attack from the Shanghai Dragons, and they finally get a bit of a foothold here on Route 66 after losing point A pretty quickly.
They've got a pretty solid position here with Undead way in the back, the rest of the team kind of playing the high ground, playing that right side flank. Seoul coming in the side here. Undead more or less untouched, but it looks like Kuki. Yeah, I don't know, man. You don't want to tangle with that Widowmaker. They got to pop the Transcendence to keep their Winston alive. Seoul on the payload. Haven't taken out anyone in Shanghai yet, though. Undead taking a couple of Zenyatta orbs to the face, but undeterred as he still looks for shots. Oh, but here comes Bunny to finish him up. Undead got 0 heals throughout all that. MG pops a whole hog, but he's getting low. Takes a breather, backs away. Zephyr finds the kill onto Roshan. So Seoul trying to grind this fight out, and now the payload's gonna move.
Yeah, that was a lot of ults used for very little benefit. Freefield was killed basically immediately after starting the coalescence. So they're not gonna have a support ultimate available for any further fights here in the immediate future.
And Shusha with that self-destruct too, and this is one of those points where you can find some good angles for that, but that's really all that Shanghai has to work with as they come out on this defense.
Wakid waiting for this Dragon Blade. He's got a lot of targets to use it. He's going to
Undead.
try it on Undead. He's going to cut him down right away.
Undead in a lot of trouble. Freefield taken out as well. Tangling with MG now. Weki just charging through, slashing away, doing the damage for his team to follow up on. And there goes Shusha. So, Seoul Dynasty cutting through that defense with ease, and that's going to be most of point B. I think Shanghai probably wants to play it cautious, wait for point C now before they defend again, and they will.
Yeah, Undead deciding whether he wants to play Soldier or McCree. Eventually settles on the Soldier. He stayed on the Widowmaker too long there. I would have stopped before, or switched before the last fight, because you're not going to be able to get out of those doors very easily. You need something like a flashbang to make sure that you're not going to get clogged up in the choke point.
You don't have the protection on the Widowmaker if you're playing that close.
No, you certainly don't. But now it will be a mid-range battle here in the warehouse.
Really good play by Bunny to wait out the defensive matrix. He forced the self-destruct for the remix. Shusha needed to get back into that Diva suit. Oh, Roshan down though. Transcendence comes in. Seoul Dynasty gonna press this attack. Freefield taken out. Gotta move back to the payload at some point. Shusha delaying as long as he can on the Diva. But Undead down due to the reflected Helix rocket, actually. Wow, that was fun. So Seoul winning the fight with ease and pushing forward here. Shanghai falling apart a little bit here at the end.
Yeah, Transcendence had to come out from Seoul, but they maintain control over their sound barrier.
Yeah.
Shanghai finally has some tools to work with. They're going to coalesce this right out of their spawn.
That's right, their defense has to coalesce as well if they're going to stop Seoul Dynasty, who still has 2.5 minutes left in the time bank. Falling back for now, but coming in, now that the Lucy ult has hit them, altering. Kuki gonna take him down with a leap, and now Weki just biding time. He's got that spawn door watch, got the tank shoved back. Zephyr coming in, he might have gotten hooked there, but it's Guido that they need to worry about. He's been taken out. Now the Dragon Blade comes in. No more mech, no more problems for Weki. Gets Shusha. Looking for more. No health though, gotta get away. Oh, he was down to 6, and he can't stay alive. Shanghai, the respawn's coming in, and now Undead with that tactical visor should help them clean up Seoul Dynasty.
Sound barrier from altering at the last second to prevent further damage from the Dragon Blade. Getting another support ultimate up was a bit dicey there for a moment.
Now it gets tough for Seoul, right? I mean, when the payload gets stopped right here, as the attackers, it gets really challenging to move in and win a fight so close to your enemy spawn.
Damn it. It is going to be tricky, especially with the Coalescence back up yet again. Undead Playing very close to the spawn so he can run back in, get a little bit of healing if he absolutely has to.
Yeah. Now they've got the beat on the Kuki there. Helix Rocket doesn't connect. It was optimistic. Oh, Wicked a little bit low. They got to use the Transcendence to keep him and the tanks up. Doesn't help. Wicked down anyway. Undead with a pretty safe location back here. And Seoul Dynasty, the fight, shifting away from him. Undead has been pretty untouched on the soldier so far. And oh man, the whole hog from MG, keeping Kuki bottled up until he loses enough health and he has to retreat. Seoul not really able to get close to this payload right now.
As Seoul was running around trying to punish Shusha on the Diva, but he had the self-destruct and was able to remech before he died. So they committed 5 members to dealing with the Diva only in a side room while Kuki used his Primal Rage to prevent the payload from moving backwards. It didn't end up in Seoul's favor.
Think about it, how dangerous it is to self-destruct with all the missiles lying around in here.
Yeah,
it's pretty risky.
Tons of explosives in this warehouse.
Self-destruct the entire team. Now they've got Seoul push back a bit. It's going to be hard to get to that payload. Needs to be some major heroics coming in. They're going to go off the back of Toby's sound barrier, I would imagine. But Undead with another tactical visor locked and loaded. There's the sound barrier. Just got to wait that one out. And then the 76 ult's going to come up big. We're into overtime right now. Shusha DMAC taken down. Transcendence from Seoul. Here comes the big push. They're using those support ultimates. But as they expire, Undead comes in. Wicked needs a huge Dragon Blade. Oh, Buddy comes in for the kill on Undead. At the last moment, the DPS from Seoul coming up big. And they will take Route 66 in overtime. It was a really well executed attack by Seoul, actually. Using those support ultimates, staggering that into the big dive from the attackers. Well done.
And Altering was only 7% away from another sound barrier too. So that could have gone very differently with just a few more percent on the Lucio from Shanghai. They nearly had that hold in the end. Let's take a look at Wakid here.
Yeah, from his view at the end of this last map, I mean, at this point, a lot of the members of Shanghai, you could see, were down to about half health. They had just been ground down by virtue of Seoul not losing people as they came in with the sound barrier and the Transcendence. And then you just finish them off with the Dragon Blade, and that is Route 66. So, flipping things up now, Seoul on the defense. And this one can be a bit tough to take. Rawhide. Rawhide. I love our sound guy.
I love our sound guy.
He's
too.
great.
All right, so what are we going to see from the Shanghai Dragons on the attack run here? Route 66, in the past, they have run Tracer and McCree together. Is a little bit more difficult without Dia in the lineup to accomplish that pairing. And instead, it seems like they're going to go back to what's been working for them, which is MG on the Roadhog and Undead on the long-range hit scan. Seoul Dynasty, what do you think they're playing, Dylan?
Well, if I had to guess, it's probably going to be Dive. Let me look at the screen. Oh, it's Dive.
It's been that way.
Shocking.
All night.
Well, I mean, the thing is it's really interesting to me that they're kind of splitting the rosters up, you know, to prepare for their matches. And this is kind of a, like you said, aside from Toby and Bunny, this is a group of players that we don't see a whole lot of. We do see Weki come in occasionally, but Kuki, Guido, Zephyr, not players you see fielded by Seoul a lot. Deciding Shanghai is the opponent they want to try that against, and it's worked okay. But you'd like to see a bit more versatility, wouldn't you?
Well, I think that at least if you're going to pick a composition, Dive is the comp that works in basically every situation on every map.
I feel like that's a bit of sarcasm from our stats person there. You only needed 4 Dragon Blades to eliminate 9 players. I guess that's about 2 per. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Oh, never mind. I don't play Genji, so. I mean, every time I play against Genji, he just kills 4 of my team, so. My perspective is skewed.
Yeah, his Dragon Blade efficiency was 2.25, so he averaged 2.25 kills for a Dragon Blade. That's pretty good.
I'm not good at math. Toby, in a little bit of trouble here. He lives for the moment, but the rest of his team falling around him. Shanghai putting together a pretty solid attack here on point A.
Yeah, and Seoul is struggling once Shanghai gets on an objective, pushing them off because they're staying clumped up around the Moira now.
Well, it's hard to dive something like what Shanghai is playing. I mean, there's so much AoE healing coming in from the Moira and the Lucio, and you know, so much health to burn through that if you're playing this dive, it's really tough to cut away at that effectively.
Yeah, especially when MG is getting about 60% of his hooks landed.
Yeah, Coalescence coming in, trying to keep those tanks alive, and MG, who he needs that health, is he's got the whole hog out, and he's going to use it to push Shanghai's way through to the end of point A.
Another great whole hog from MG. He's been pulling him out left and right, making sure that he uses the knockback to deny DPS ults. Didn't happen that time. Wakid will be coming back with his. He's already creeping around on the side, you can see, moving up towards the second story of the saloon in the middle of the map.
Sneaky Roadhog. Hard to sneak, but he can pull it off once in a while. He's got some agility. Soul knows where they are, obviously. They're near the payload.
Wow, Zephyr got hooked right there. We're gonna see
dangerous moment.
Dead.
Attack Visor, undead. Looking for the kill on the Weki. They've got that sound barrier to try to keep him up with. Everybody kind of in that house right now. Undead on the run. Under pressure, Kuki diving in. Trying to turn around and no, there's a Primal Rage to make sure Undead falls. Weki, low health, needs to get over to that big health pack and big Earls. And Bunny, ooh, with the big Pulse Bomb. Seoul Dynasty getting a little bit of breathing room now on point B.
Yeah, mostly a cleanup Pulse Bomb right there. What's going to be Shanghai resetting regardless. And they committed in a massive way to dealing with that Undead tactical visor, sending their tanks back over to try and ensure that their supports and DPS stayed alive through that, and also used the sound barrier for protection.
Free feel learning, you don't hug a Roadhog when he's got a Pulse Bomb on him.
Or you do if you want to reset. It just depends.
Transcendence. Soul, a lot of healing coming into this attack. They've demexed Shusha almost immediately. Like looking for the sick reflect kill, doesn't quite find him. That's okay because they're finding all the other kills. The support's even getting a bit bloodthirsty there, and Shanghai struggling a little bit to get this payload moving now.
Yes, they are, and they're coming back with only free feel with the Coalescence. He's had some good uses of it so far tonight, but it's not going to be super effective against the Genji Blade.
Well, the idea is that I think you can pair this again with the whole hog coming up maybe, and that lets Roadhog be very aggressive with his ult positioning. Oh, Buddy just finishes undead. Gets hooked though, trades 1 for 1. Wekid, oh, free feel, not gonna let him put that ultimate to use. Big fight for Shanghai, and now with just Zephyr and Kuki on the point for the moment. They gotta get the respawns there if they want to keep stopping him.
I mean, if you're gonna give him the Dragon Blade for free by trying to walk through a corridor while Moira's holding the right click on you.
I would not advise that.
I would not advise that either. So now Shanghai have a chance to really get some movement on the payload here on B for the first time. They have the whole hog to make sure people aren't even going to get through this lower doorway. And they have the Primal Rage too. If Roshan's on top, they can actually CC both of these doors at the same time.
Yep. Oh, Bunny CC'd indefinitely by that Helix Rocket. He's down back to spawn. Kuki pushed back with a Primal Rage. Or in Primal Rage, rather. MG again, they paired it with the Coalescence so he could be aggressive with the whole hog. Pushes Soul back a little bit. Soul gonna go ahead and use both support ultimates to try to stay in the game here. But Shanghai, that payload's moving forward. Nice melee on the Bunny as he comes in. They do trade though. There's a nice hook onto Zephyr. Soul falling all around this payload. They've got it stopped for the moment, but not anymore. Kuki and Toby, Weki not a lot of help to speak of. That payload nearly there. Soul doing a good job of delaying, but they can't delay it enough, and that is going to be point B for Shanghai.
And they keep on pushing, going 3 minutes to make it to the end and put us into a time bank situation.
Yeah.
So let's see if they can make it work here. Wakid already with another Dragon Blade, though.
Well, Shanghai
He's going to have to go against the sound barrier.
Shanghai with a pretty big ult edge coming into this one, though.
Yeah, at least for the one fight until Toby gets a sound barrier of his own. So Seoul can still drag this out, but Shanghai has some time here.
That's right. They can play this one a bit more cautiously. Or they can just use Attack Visor and Coalescence and go in that way too. Undead hunting down the supports. Guido, ooh, barely gets the cover in time. Close call. Pulse Bomb onto Roshan. Seoul Dynasty gonna win this fight as both tanks out of commission for the Dragons.
And that's the worst outcome, really. You use the Coalescence and the Tactical Visor, and you trade evenly when it comes to the kills. You also don't force out the sound barrier. The only thing you got was really a pulse bomb, so...
You don't trade evenly ult-wise.
Yeah.
The bigger story there, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So now Seoul going to be in a better position to defend.
And they're going in with that sound barrier. Aggressive defense for Seoul, playing that diving composition. Oh, nearly hooked, but Weki gets around the corner. Bunny, though, finishes off Shusha's mech. MG caught by the self-destruct, and when you add it all together, you're going to get a Seoul Dynasty hold for the moment.
MG was actually herded into line of sight by the DPS of Seoul Dynasty. So unfortunate there. The self-destruct was pretty far away from him.
I like the swap onto the McCree from Undead. I think you need that. You need to worry about the Genji, about the Tracer, and you need to get those mid-range picks too, if possible.
Well, you know the Dragon Blade's there, and you also know you have no support ult, so switching to McCree is a good idea.
But then you die right as the Dragon Blade comes out. The McCree not so great. Ito gonna finish off MG as well. Weki gets 3 with that one. Ooh, that was a big ultimate, and now 1 minute remaining after a little bit of a stall there on Shusha.
And still nothing on the side of Shanghai. Another ult used, and you don't get progress on the payload. Roshan has a Primal Rage. They've got one push if they're lucky. Undead wants to go to Zarya now.
Interesting. They're gonna go for the quad tank and just gonna try to steamroll their way through this one.
It's all about staying alive on the payload, so.
Yeah. Well, Seoul Dynasty with a very measured defense here, very efficient in their ult usage. Pulse Bomb coming in, Bunny, bit of damage, but no kills out of that one. They do demech Shusha though. Big story there as they come in now with the Transcendence. Kuki needs some help, gets it from the Primal Rage. Undead taken out by Zephyr. Now Kuki just scattering the members of the Shanghai Dragons. Coming around the outside, Shanghai already falling back. Only 10 seconds remaining. They need to rush this point. They need to get there now.
And they don't have anything to work with unless Altering can get that sound barrier damn fast.
Here we go. Kuki on the point. We're into OT. Shanghai needs to win a big fight here to try to equalize. Weki says no. Dragon Blade out. There goes Freefeel. And with that sound barrier, he has no trouble surviving long enough to cut through the members of the Shanghai Dragons. Another big Genji finisher from Weki. And there's only so much the tanks can do. The only 2 left on the payload, Shusha, MG falling, and that will be the end of the series. Seoul Dynasty will take it 3-1 off a win on Route 66. Got a bit dicey there, but Seoul pulled it out.
They definitely did after getting full held.
Yeah.
On King's Row, Seoul turns it around. Pretty close map at the end there. Going all the way to point C on Route 66. And in spite of that loss, if you consider the Dragons shipped up in coaching, if you consider the fact that Dia is not here, I think this time we saw an ability to adapt from Shanghai that we have not seen historically, and that is an encouraging sign.
Yeah, I think honestly, being kind of freed in a certain way from having Dia and Undead and feeling the need to play a 2-2-2 composition may just be what Shanghai needs. I wonder going forward if we're going to see more of this triple tank with more looks at Shusha, and they certainly have time to develop it. It's a loss today, but probably the best that the Dragons have looked in a long time.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Seoul, on the other hand, we'll see what happens with them later this week as they run their other lineup. That's going to only have probably Toby switching off because they're still waiting on Gambler's arrival.
Should be interesting to see as we look ahead to our next match between these teams some point in the future. A win for Seoul today, guys. The desk breaks it down when we come back after the break. Don't go anywhere. See you then.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Zoe, and I'm joined by Cookie from the Seoul Dynasty. Please give it up for that young man next to me. You guys just walked off that stage with a 3-1 victory. Now, of course, Shanghai Dragons showed up with a little bit of a different lineup. They didn't have Dia. Did that mean that you guys had to adjust your game plan coming into this, or did you just play what you practiced?
Actually, we were worried about that Dia was not coming out, because we thought that Dia was coming out, and we just practiced our Genji Tracer for like 2 or 3 days. And after Dia's not coming out, we thought that they're gonna counter us with the triple tank. So we were worried about that.
All right, looking at that third match, which Shanghai actually took away from you guys, what went wrong for the Seoul Dynasty?
I think a lot of things worked not well because we were too aggressive, and our communication wasn't well because their diva was just flanking and killing our Zen, and we were playing too aggressive, just pushing forward too hard. So I think that was the problem.
Well, but you won the match in the end. Now, one last question. The cast has already discussed it, and you just said it yourself. You only had like kind of 2 days to really practice for this match. How much time do people like you, or as well as Zephyr and Guido from your team, actually get to play with the main roster?
Actually, we're just trying some new things like double squads, or I think, and just we didn't have that much time because we were focusing on our main roster for a few days. So, but we prepared really hard for the 3 days, and I think it's not bad that we won in 3-1.
No, it's absolutely not bad to win, Cookie. Thank you so much for joining me. Please give it up once more for Cookie. Thanks a lot for joining me here again. It's been a long time since I actually got to talk to you. It's great to see you back on that stage. We're now heading over to our desk to break down the action.
I totally agree. You know, not bad to win 3-1. You know, coming out on top with the W there is Seoul Dynasty. Always a pleasure to hear from Cookie as well. Welcome, everyone. And you know, I guess, you know, Shanghai, though, really proud of these guys. Honestly, like, this is a team that has gone through quite a bit, you know, the formation of the league all the way until this point. And I think Mani and Doa, you know, said it best. Like, we're starting to see these necessary adjustments from them.
They've had a rough start, haven't they, in the league? Like
they've gone through the 7 circles.
They really have, like, to put it lightly. They've gone through the 7 circles. Thankfully, things are looking up and up. I mean, this game, as an example, we saw a different side of Shanghai. We saw coordination. We saw adaptability. This is super promising.
Exactly.
Big fan of this, to be honest, because I'm liking it, you know, and not to mention, they got all these new players that are coming in as well.
Yes, I think one of the biggest things that we saw them adapt was shifting MG and Shushu over from the Roadhog and the Diva. When we saw them play on Volskaya, it was Shushu going to be playing most of that. Coming into King's Row, these guys had a fantastic performance, and this was what they missed. MG is very clutch on this Roadhog, and Shushu is very aggressive on the Diva, so that allowed them to put more pressure on Seoul, whilst also having a backline. Look at that! 5 King as well with a great boop to deny it. Every time Seoul came in with the ultimates, when it looked like a fight that they were going to win, either 5 King, Shushu, or MG came out with the clutches. So this was a great performance on King's Row. Yes, it lends itself slightly more towards the tanky compositions, perhaps why they couldn't pull out the win on other maps, but you see the potential here of what they're capable of.
Yeah, the adaptability was the most important thing for this team. You know, I remember when I believe it was the OPS or the OPC, the Overwatch Pacific Championship was going on. I could be...
OWPS.
OWPS.
I'll save you with that one.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you so much, Josh, for saving me there.
No worries.
Terrible human being. The one thing, though, that I had always noticed was, like, a lot of the Chinese teams just, they stuck to, like, one thing, and they really just committed to that one thing. And I think that them coming out here, continuing to scrim with some of these Western players, of course the Korean players that are here as well, just really adds to that repertoire that you could, you know, bring to a match.
And I think their new players are going to do that tenfold, because as soon as you bring in players that have different perspectives, have different levels of experience on other teams, they're going to be able to add in their thoughts of how to approach situations as well as the individual skill. So this is definitely a roster that could see massive improvements over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, but speaking of individual skill, though, Bren, MG on the Hog, his accuracy was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. It was completely ridiculous. When you said, speaking of individual skill, I thought you were going to talk about Nebrenji for a second, but no,
you need to calm down.
Got my hopes up. No, look at this guy's hook accuracy. MG on King's Row, we said this guy was pulling out the clutch plays, and indeed he was. 72.22% hook accuracy. You know what that means,
Recurring,
Sideshow?
of course.
Recurring, of course. Again, another World of Warcraft reference we're going to shove in there. But here we are. Do you know what that means, Sideshow? It means 13 out of the 18 hooks that gent was hitting. I mean,
did you do that in your head?
I
That's
did.
impressive.
That was. They call me the human calculator.
Do they?
No.
The human abacus.
That's the human.
You
abacus.
do look like a human abacus. That makes a lot
you.
of sense. I don't even.
I think he looks more like a human abacus operator. He's the guy that would be using the abacus.
Okay.
He looks like an accountant.
Are you talking about the bead thing? The bead.
What are those? What are you doing?
Like the
Stop
abacus,
it.
right?
Just
The
no.
abacus, the beads, the calculator, the old-timey calculator, as they call it.
Oh dear. Okay.
Let's move on to map 4.
Let's move on.
I'm gonna say these. I want to talk about map 4.
Go ahead, Brent.
This is when Seoul started to switch things up a bit. We got some clips as well that we can run through of this map and how it played out. But in general, like, I agree with Monty's sort of perspective on this map. He said halfway through, he said Undead stayed a little bit too long on the Widowmaker throughout the second stage here of Route 66. I gotta agree with that. He wasn't really getting as much damage done. You know, he probably could have got a lot more impact going in that game if he just played a hero like Soldier 76.
Yes, and the Soldier 76 isn't what he's most known for, and it doesn't really play into his strengths. The Soldier 76 is great for outputting damage. It's very hard to dive, which works with the Lucio and the Moira. Again, both of those very hard to dive as well. But it relies on your tanks to finish the kills from the damage you're doing. Whereas Undead's more of the clutch guy. He wants to be on McCree, he wants to be on Widowmaker, closing them out himself. But that means you're offering up an opportunity for the Genji Tracer of Soul to be able to dive onto you. And the whole reason they're running Moira Lucio there, right, instead of a Zen, is that Zen is very susceptible to being jumped on. Moira has the Phage, she can dodge away. We're starting to see a couple of teams, Philadelphia Fusion as well, run the Moira Lucio because the Moira can get away if the counter dive comes in.
Yeah, having that added movement really helps out a lot. It's always been Zenyatta's big crutch, right?
Yes.
Delivers a lot into damage, you know, brings out the, you know, the damage mitigation, all those different things, the pain, if you will, but just
he can levitate, but he can't move around the map very well.
You would think that he would find a way to,
or just keep flying upwards.
I mean, come on, Jeff.
I once posed the question: do you think Zenyatta, if he tried hard enough, he could float? He could really fly. I mean, he's already levitating.
He can float.
You just.
Oh my God.
Okay, here's what needs to happen, right? You nano boost the Zenyatta, right?
Yes.
You give him enough energy, enough power to
Yeah.
just actually fly. I reckon that's the next stage in evolution.
Okay.
All right.
We've already seen Overwatch made him walk as
I'd
well.
love
so
to
he
see this
can
happen,
walk.
to be honest.
I think we're in for another ridiculous video so, from the Overwatch team. So thank you so much, Bren, for that
Bless
one.
them.
Blessed be.
Blessed be the Overwatch team.
Oh my goodness. All right, well, you know what else is blessed?
Me?
Bunny, because he's going to be our Omen by HP player of the match, and this guy has been on fire, and it has been recorded. This is the fact. The 4th highest KD at 4.7 for a match.
What a
this
boss.
guy threw it down. And like I said, man, the mailman, he delivered.
I heard Sideshow call him a mad ting in the halftime. Like,
never said that.
You actually did. You called him a mad ting, and now it definitely showed up. Bunny is a ridiculous player. You don't really get to see too much of like these individual Tracer players on Soul because they like to run, you know, individual players for certain situations and for certain teams. But when Bunny gets let loose, the man just dominates across the map, and it was no outlier here in this game today that he did it again.
Yeah, and I think the Shanghai Dragons did a good job at shutting him down on King's Row, the map they won, and a reasonable job at shutting him down on Route 66, but that guy is so good that you have to commit all the resources there, and he only died 11 times, like you're saying. They put enough damage on him to pressure him away a couple of times, but they couldn't finish the kill, and Bunny ran rampant.
Yeah, Bunny's maybe soft and fuzzy, but this Bunny is grizzled and ferocious. There you go. I love it. That's why I love you, Bren. That is your Omen by HP player of the match, Bunny. This guy just really tearing it up. But that's going to do it for us here. Seoul Dynasty will take the win 3-1, but the Shanghai Dragons have definitely shown us some new looks, and that is always a good thing to see. But don't go anywhere, because when we come back, the San Francisco Shock will go up against the Dallas Fuel. You're going to want to catch that one. I think it's going to be a great game. We have a lot to say about that one, so don't go anywhere. Plenty more Overwatch League coming at you on the other side.